All right. So first of all, just thank you to each one of you that has joined for today's class. Um, I don't know about you, but one of the things that I'm finding really inspiring is how so many of us are coming together in this time, even though we can't physically be together. So I just want to take a moment to thank you um, for contributing to the power of this container today. So my name is Angela Rose Fields, and I'll be teaching our gentle yoga class today. I'm going to begin by just giving a little bit of a dialogue, a little bit of the concept of what we're working with, and then I'll go ahead and step back to the mat and we'll dive in. But today, as I was tuning in to what I really wanted to teach and what I want to bring forward is I know that since this global pandemic started to really rise, the yoga practice and going back to my mat, which I will fully admit I had kind of stepped away from my practice for a little while and I had taught quite a bit previously. But the last week or two, I was feeling such an intense draw to come back to yoga because so many of us are having to totally shift our self-care practice at this point. Going to the spa, going to get a massage, acupuncture, whatever it is that's usually in your tool basket of taking care of your body is probably out the window right now as far as a possibility goes. And so, but however, with that, we're all highly intuitive, empathic people who process somatically. So I don't know about you, but in the morning when I'm tuning into how I'm feeling, it's been necessary to breathe and move and start to notice where in my body I'm holding the stress of what we're experiencing together globally. And that's really how the nervous system works, is we can tell ourselves that we're fine, we can be positive all we want, but the fact of the matter is we're all being affected deeply by what's going on. And so right now, the concept that I really want to bring forward today is calming the nervous system and doing more by doing less. So right now is a powerful opportunity for all of us to witness our old traumas and our old patterns, the ones that we probably continually work with time and time again, since that's how the healing process works, right? We have another layer come up, and oftentimes it's more of the same story, just at kind of our next layer. And right now, the fact of the matter is we are all witnessing or going to witness as time goes on, just depending on how you're processing personally old patterns. And I know I definitely firsthand saw in motion how that really manifests in real life, because it's one thing to study trauma, it's one thing to study the nervous system, and then it's another to observe it when we're actually going through it. And so right now, our fight, flight, freeze, or fawning, which is the fourth trauma response that gets less attention, these four responses are coming up for everyone. And I think that it really is a time for personal development and growth. It's like a gold mine for personal development, because already witnessing how fear is manifesting in our body or what could be coming up for us. I know a lot of people are having, really intense feelings come up around feeling stuck, because in a sense, we're being asked to sit. So that can be a scary concept for a lot of us. However, we also have the opportunity to come together today and look at it more as a global retreat, and a time to sit on our mat, and a time to reflect, and a time to tune into our body, and a time to really look at all of the emotions that arise and all of our projections that arise, and really just sit with them and turn that mirror back on ourselves and learn more about ourselves right now. So What I would like to first invite everyone to do before we actually get into the practice, which what I have planned today is some gentle yoga. So we will start with breathing and meditation. We're going to move into some movement and some strengthening to build some heat in the body. And then afterwards, I'll have everyone shift gears into yin. So if you're not familiar with yin yoga, it's mostly seated long holds where ultimately what we're doing is we're opening up the meridians of the body. We're opening up the channels. We're helping all of the lymph move. It's really, really helpful with helping pain to move. And so before we do that, I would like to invite everyone to just take a moment to get really clear on what your intention is today. And you can type that into the chat. You can go ahead and type the intention into the chat box if that's helpful, or you can sit with it in your heart, whatever feels best to you. But I just want everyone to know that our intention is already powerful. Now we're utilizing the intention and the power of this container, because I think intentions are even more powerful when we can hold them together. All right, so the intention to tune in and turn down. I am right there with you. Let's tune into our bodies and to feel more heat and loosen up. Okay, great, absolutely. We'll be building some heat and then we'll be coming into holds that will help us loosen up. And so let's play with that concept of doing more by doing less, by calming down, letting the next steps to move us forward in life just come to us, which yin is a really powerful practice for connecting to our intuition and our inner guidance, and just trust that right now a slower pace is actually going to help us to yield more in life. So go ahead and get situated on your mat. If you are just tuning in, I recommend having a mat and 1 to 2 pillows with you. And I'll give everyone just a couple of seconds to settle in, and then we'll begin. And as you're settling in, feel free to first just come to a seat. So whether it's cross-legged or whether you'd like to sit with your heels in a line, go ahead and bring, if you have a block or if you have your pillows, anything to lift the hips up. And I invite you, as you're settling in, just to take a moment to get any wiggles out. Take a moment just to release any fidgeting. And then when you're ready, close the eyes. And begin to just tune into your breath. And from here, just notice your breathing. You don't need to change it at all, but just take a moment to notice your natural breath right now. Connect again with the intention. And now with your next inhalation, let the breath begin down in the belly, in the diaphragm. And then bring the breath up into the lungs and the rib cage, the shoulders. It's as if you're breathing all the way into your head. And then exhale, reverse the breath and let it travel down the spine. So we inhale for 1, 2, 3. Exhale for 1, 2, 3. Inhale for 1, 2, 3. Exhale for 1, 2, 3. And continue breathing in and out through the nose. Allow the throat to gently constrict. So we're building that Ujjayi breath that warms the body from the inside out. Allow the tip of the tongue to rest behind your top teeth. Take 2 more deep breaths like this, building the heat in the body just from your breath alone. And then from here, open the eyes. And I will mirror you. So bring your right hand, right arm down at a diagonal. And we'll begin by just noticing how you're feeling in the neck. So draw the left ear down towards the left shoulder. Stay connected to the breath. And you can take a moment to just point through each individual finger. And just allow this to be time where you're building awareness. You're just feeling into your body where you may be holding tension in the arms, in the wrist, in the neck. And then find stillness with the fingertips and take 2 more deep breaths here. And then draw the head back to center. You can bring the palm back to the top of the knee. And we'll feel into the second side. So extending the left arm down at a diagonal and drawing that right ear down towards the right shoulder. Connecting with the breath and allowing your breath to actually transmute and move the tension that you may feel in the body. And now take a moment to point each individual finger and just feel how differently that feels. Just building the awareness around where you need the stretch the most. And then take 2 more deep breaths here. Bring the hand back to the top of the leg. Remove anything that you have under your seat. And from here, we'll roll forward into a tabletop position. So we position the knees directly underneath the hips, hands directly underneath the shoulders, and allow the eyes of the elbow to draw in towards one another. So for anyone who's really hyperextensive like I am, this means almost bringing a gentle bend to the arm. Draw up through the back of the heart. And with your next inhalation, lift the sacrum, drop the belly, and then lastly, lift the head. And as you exhale, tuck the sacrum, lift the belly button towards the ceiling, and then lastly, let the head drop. So we inhale, lift the sacrum, drop the belly, lift the head. Exhale, Tuck the hips, lift the belly button, allow the head to drop. Now continue. So we'll continue for about 4 or 5 more sets, but I invite you to just listen to your own body. So where do you need the stretch? It doesn't have to look like exactly what I'm doing. So do you need to bring some movements into the side or a barrel roll? Just take this time to build the awareness and just to listen to what you need. One more set of breath. Next, we'll walk the hands forward towards the top of the mat. Keeping the hips directly above the knees, we'll drop the forehead down towards the mat. So if the flexibility is available to you, you can bring the forehead all the way down, but just listen to your body. If you need to bring a pillow under the forehead, you can. And we'll take 4 sets of breath here, just opening up the shoulders. And then lift the forehead, begin to walk the hands back underneath the shoulders. From here, to build a little bit of strength in the body, tuck the toes and let the knees just hover above the mat. So we're building core strength. Draw the belly button towards the spine to really protect the spine, and we'll take 3 breaths here. Then release the knees down. You can sit back onto the heels and just roll out the wrists. All right. So now as we walk the hands back to tabletop, next bring the hands about 1 foot towards the top of the mat. And we'll gently begin to explore a downward facing dog. So tuck the toes. I want you to keep the knees really bent, but lift the hips towards the ceiling. And then from here, we can explore straightening the legs if that feels appropriate, or you can keep the knees bent. 2 deep breaths. And then gently begin to walk towards the top of the mat. Keep the knees really, really bent to protect the spine. When you make it to the top of the mat, you can hug the elbows, knees really bent, belly comes to rest on the top of the thighs as we just let our body hang in a rag doll. 4 deep breaths here. And then slowly and gently, we roll up to a standing position. Inhale, lift the hands above the head to prayer position. Exhale, hands to the heart. Great, so inhale, lift the hands above the head. Exhale, hands to the heart. Once more, we inhale, drawing in. Imagine that your bubble of energy grows really strong. And then next, we're gonna exhale, we'll fold forward, bend the knees. So folding forward with the exhalation. Inhale, we'll lengthen the spine halfway. So hands can come to shins as we lengthen through the crown of the head. Exhale, fold it forward again. We'll do 2 more like this. So inhale, lengthen halfway. Exhale, release it down. Inhale to lengthen halfway. Exhale, release it down. From here, step back to a plank position. You have the option to drop the knees down if you would like, but we'll hold here for 3 breaths to build some strength. Micro bend in the elbows, drawing the belly button towards the spine, back of the heart lifts towards the ceiling. 1 more deep breath here. Then drop the knees if you haven't already. We'll lower the chest down to the ground, hugging the elbows in towards the rib cage. From here, with the toes tucked, we allow the hips to drop, untuck the toes, shift the fingers back so that they fall just under the shoulders as we inhale for cobra. Exhale, release. 2 more times. We inhale for cobra. Exhale, release. Final time. We inhale for cobra. Exhale, release. Now we press it back into either a tabletop or a plank position. 3 breaths here. And now press it back to downward dog. So bending the knees, we shift the hips up towards the ceiling. From here, you can begin to straighten the legs, pressing all 5 fingertips into the mat to protect the wrists. 2 more deep breaths here. And then begin to walk it up to the top of the mat. Inhale to lengthen through the crown. So we lengthen halfway. Hands can come to the shins or the ground, wherever's best for your flexibility. Exhale, release. 2 more times. We inhale, lengthen halfway. And exhale to release. Once more. Inhale to lengthen halfway. Exhale, release. Keeping the knees nice and bent, slowly rolling up to a standing position. And when you get there, inhaling to lengthen the arms up above the head. Exhale, hands to heart center. And just take a moment here to connect with your heart, to connect again with your intention, to connect with your breath. All right, so 1 more round of this modified sun salute. So we inhale to lift the arms over the head. Exhale to fold it forward. We hinge at the hips, bend in the knees as much as you need. Inhale to lengthen halfway. Exhale to fold it forward. This time we plant the hands and we step right back to plank. You can let the knees down if you need to. From here, we lower the knees, we lower the chest, we untuck and lower the hips, toes follow. Inhale for cobra. Exhale to release it. Inhale to press it up to plank or tabletop. And exhale to downward facing dog. 3 deep breaths here. So pressing the pads of the fingers into the mat. Drawing the shoulders, it's as if you draw the shoulders up towards the hips and away from the shoulders, or away from the ears to lengthen in the neck. And just take a moment to move the neck and notice if you've locked up in that area. From here, we gently walk towards the top of our mat. Inhale to lengthen halfway. Exhale to release it down. Inhale, we lengthen to rise. Exhale, hands to the heart. Connect with your intention. Connect with the heart. And from here, we'll shift on back down onto the ground into the yin portion. So go ahead and come down into a comfortable seat. And if you have your pillows, you might want them off to the side so that they're accessible for you. For our first stretch, the legs will be straight forward in front of us. You may or may not want a pillow under the knees, just depending on how tight your hamstrings are. But start by bringing your hands to the hips and just rock back and forward for a moment to really find your sits bones. So find those pointy butt bones. And then when you have, ground down from there. From here, we fold forward, hinging at the hips. So we tilt the sits bones. Find your edge. And in yin, we say go to about 30%. Go to that point where you feel the stretch, but because we're gonna hold it, we don't wanna go all the way. So feel the stretch. And then from there, bring the hands down to the ground. So palms face down on the ground is grounding. Palms face up invites more energy in. And then from here, we just let the spine arch naturally. So let the head hang heavy. And we'll hold this stretch for about 3 minutes. So your job is just to connect with your breath and allow your breath to take you more deeply into the posture. And so in this posture, continue to stay in that forward fold. Know that we're opening up the back body. So when it comes to our energy centers, if you're familiar with chakras, the neural networks, the huge power centers in our body, the front we feel. But the back of our chakras is all about how we move forward in life. So as we open up the back body, helps us to move forward with more grace and ease. And just notice, does the back of your body feel tighter than normal? Does it feel different in any way? Or maybe this is just the first time that you've had a chance to feel into it. right, so take 3 more deep breaths here. And then slowly and gently allow yourself to roll up 1 vertebra at a time. Our next posture will be a wide-legged forward fold. So go ahead and bring your legs wide apart. And depending on your flexibility, know that you can bring a gentle bend to the knees. If it feels good to have a pillow under each knee, that is totally an option. From here, bring the hands to the hips. And once again, just rock back and forward for a second and notice where those sits bones are. And then find stillness on the sits bones. And from here, we fold forward. So once again, we're rocking, it's as if we fold forward from the hips. So the sits bones move back as the body moves forward. Find that 30% stretch where you're at your edge. You feel the tension, you feel the stretch, but you're not to a point of potentially hurting yourself. And then you can just let the arms relax. You can let the top of the head hang heavy if it's okay on the neck. Just allow your body to sink into the stretch. And feel free to get creative with your props. So if you have a pillow and it feels good to hug the pillow or bring it under your chest, that's an option. Like I said, pillows under the knees are an option. The whole point is to find that edge, but not push ourselves too far to the point of injury, because yin is a deep practice. While it may look really simple to the observer, anyone who's done very much yin knows that it takes you really deep in your body. We start to recognize any tendencies that we have to push ourselves too hard. And so we'll hold here for 2 minutes. Three more deep breaths here. With each exhalation, just let the tension melt. It's as if you're just letting it all go. And then slowly and gently, you can walk yourself back up to center, 1 vertebra at a time, until you find yourself lifting through the crown. Take a moment to notice the rebound. In yin, the rebound is that moment in between where we feel the fluid rush back into certain areas. Sometimes we notice tingling. Sometimes we notice realization or emotion. And for our next posture, we'll come into a butterfly. But in yin, butterfly is really more of a diamond. So allow there to be about 2 feet distance between your hips and the feet. It's a nice diamond shape here. The soles of the feet come to touch. And for this one, we plant the sits bones firmly. And folding forward in our butterfly is just going to come from the spine. So the sits bones stay where they are, but just let the upper body fold over the legs. Arms can rest wherever they feel comfortable. Remember that palms face up is inviting energy into the meridian system. Palms face down is grounding. And we'll be here for 2 to 3 minutes. Continue to connect with your breath. Notice when your body sinks deeper. Oftentimes we hit those points where it just falls a little bit deeper into the posture. Because with yin yoga, we're working with the fascia. And fascia is the connective tissue that coats every cell, every bone, every organ, every muscle. When we think of fascia, I like to imagine like an orange. How when you have an orange, you can pull apart each piece, and each piece is individually coated, and then it comes together as a whole. So when we open up the fascia, we allow for pain to leave the body. In this yin butterfly pose, we work specifically with the sacral chakra. Butterfly targets the energy center that sits at the top of the sacrum, in the hips, in the pelvic girdle, just below the belly button. This is our creative center. This is one of our main sexual centers. And it also deeply ties to our digestion. So it's really likely that lately you may have been experiencing some tension in the digestive system, or maybe you're noticing that your habits around food feel different. So breathe into that sacral center and just allow it to open with ease, knowing that it will allow for digestion, for that movement of our energy and the way that we process the nourishment that enters our body. Take 3 more deep breaths here. And then slowly and gently rolling up to a seat, 1 vertebra at a time. Take a moment to feel the rebound, to notice any sensations. And then when you feel ready, come back down onto your back. And so as we transition down onto our back, You have options here, so just tune into what your body needs in this moment. If that butterfly position feels good, then bring the soles of the feet together and the knees wide. You could even bring pillows underneath the knees if that feels best to you. Or if that feels like too much, you can bring the feet wide on the mat and the knees together for knock knee pose. So just tune into what feels best, either butterfly or feet to the edges of the mat, knees come to touch in the middle. And then from here, bring one hand to the belly and one hand to the heart. And know that this is an act of both giving and receiving love. Let the eyes close. Stay connected to your breath. And just allow yourself to receive this story that I'm about to share. So I pulled a medicine card specifically for our class today from a spirit animal medicine cards deck. And today I got the horse. So for this group, power. Stealing horses is stealing power was a statement made frequently in historical Native American and a reference to the esteemed role which horse played in the Native cultures. Horse is physical power and unearthly power. In shamanic practices throughout the world, horse enables shamans to fly through the air and reach heaven. Humanity made a great leap forward when horse was domesticated, a discovery akin to that of fire. Before horse, humans were earthbound, heavy-laden, and slow creatures indeed. Once humans climbed on horses' back, they were as free and fleet as the wind. They could carry burdens for great distances with ease. Through their special relationship with horse, humans altered their self-concept beyond measure. Horse was the first animal medicine of civilization. Humanity owes an incalculable debt to horse and to the new medicine it brought. It would be a long walk to see one's brother or sister if horse had not welcomed the two-legged rider upon its back. Today, we measure the capacity of engines with the term horsepower, a reminder of the days when horse was an honored and highly prized partner with humanity. Dreamwalker, a medicine man, was walking across the plains to visit the Arapaho Nation. He carried with him his pipe. The feather tied into his long black hair pointed to the ground, marking him a man of peace. Over the rise of a hill, Dreamwalker saw a herd of wild mustangs running towards him. Black Stallion approached him and asked if he was seeking an answer on his journey. Black Stallion said, "I am from the void, where answer lives. Ride on my back and know the power of entering the darkness and finding the light, Dreamwalker." Dreamwalker thanked Black Stallion and agreed to visit him when his medicine was needed in the dream time. Yellow Stallion approached Dreamwalker next and offered to take him to the east, where illumination lives. Dreamwalker could share the answers he found there to teach and illuminate others. Once again, Dreamwalker thanked Yellow Stallion and said he would use these gifts of power on his journey. Red Stallion approached, rearing playfully. He told Dreamwalker of the joys of balancing work and heavy medicine with the joyful experiences of play. He reminded Dreamwalker that he could better hold the attention of those he taught when humor was integrated with the lesson. Dreamwalker thanked him and promised to remember the gift of joy. Dreamwalker was near his destination. The Arapaho Nation was close at hand. White Stallion came to the front of the herd. Dreamwalker mounted White Stallion's back. White Stallion was the message carrier for all the other horses and represented wisdom and power. This magnificent horse was the embodiment of the balanced medicine shield. No abuse of power will ever lead to wisdom, said White Stallion. You, Dreamwalker, have made this journey to heal a brother in need, to share the sacred pipe, and to heal the Mother Earth. You have the knowledge through humility that you are an instrument of great spirit. As I carry you upon my back, you carry the needs of the people in yours. In wisdom, you understand that power is not given lightly, but awarded to those who are willing to carry responsibility in a balanced manner. Dreamwalker, the shaman, had been healed by the visit of the wild horses and knew that his purpose in coming to the Arapaho was to share these gifts with them. In understanding the power of horse, you may see how to strive for a balanced medicine shield. True power is wisdom found in remembering your total journey. Wisdom comes from remembering pathways you have walked in another person's moccasins. Compassion, caring, teaching, loving, and sharing your gifts, talents, and abilities is the gateway to power. So from here, gently move into Shavasana. So you can bring the knees back to center if they've been spread apart. And then you can slowly walk the feet, stretch the legs long in front of you for the final resting pose. Feel free to use your props however you would like. Close the eyes and let your eye sockets fall heavy. Let your eyes fall heavy in the sockets. So we spend so much time with our eyes right on the surface seeking light. And notice if you can just let them fall heavy into the sockets to relax. Unfurl the brow. Relax the jaw, and maybe that even means the mouth falls slightly open. And then from there, just scan the body all the way from the head to the toes. And just imagine that tension melts away as you receive the sounds I'm about to play. And then from here, you can begin to bring micro movements back into the body, into the toes, into the fingers. Just take a moment to stretch in any way that feels good to you. And for those of you that are lying down, when you feel ready, roll onto the right side to acknowledge the heart. From there, we use our limbs to press ourselves up to a comfortable seated position. Bring the hands to prayer position at heart center, Anjali Mudra. And we'll close the practice with an Om together. So begin by exhaling all of the air out of the lungs. Deep inhalation. One more exhale. Inhalation, and then we'll begin. Gently bow the head in towards the hands. And it's with great respect and gratitude that I say to you and you say to me, Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you, Angela, so much. This is Angela Rose Fields. Thank you so much for leading yoga.
Thanks for having me, and thank you to everyone for tuning in.
You're so welcome. I'm going to stop the live stream.